The website that we've constructed here goes beyond the book. In the book, we tried to put very traditional tools to help people work through the chapters. So there's active learning exercises, there's bibliography, suggested readings, discussion questions, all that stuff. And those things are all repeated in the chapter-by-chapter guide here, as well as a lot of in-depth material that goes with each chapter. But we've also attempted to make this a real extension of the book and to make it something that suits the media preferences of people today, something that involves a lot of video and audio, that brings in some carefully selected material from different speakers and organizes them by topic, and something that makes it possible for a theologian that doesn't have the luxury of teaching with a scientist, or a scientist that doesn't have the luxury of teaching with a theologian, to approach this material in a kind of a confident fashion.
Yes. One of the tabs, I guess you'd call it, is scientific resources for theologians, and that's important. It's significant. I mean, from my perspective, one of the things that challenged me was I had to deal with the science. I had to integrate the science. I had to deal with the biology, the chemistry, and the physics that underlie things like climate change and the bioaccumulation of persistent toxins and parts per million and so on and so forth. And that, I think, is important from my perspective, that our students who are in religious studies courses or theology courses, that they do have a good handle of the science. I think the issue of ecological literacy is very important. And so one of the things that we wanted to do is provide some of these resources for people who will be doing these courses as theologians or professors of religious studies who don't have the as you put it, the luxury of teaching with a colleague in the sciences. I think one of the strong features of the website from that perspective is the catalog library of the video library. There's some superb material there on a full range of environmental problems. And this is one of the things that we discovered in doing this project and website, is that there aren't very many videos or video resources that deal with the theological issues. And that is, I think that's a weakness for the disciplines of theology and religious studies. I think, so one of the things that we hope will emerge from this project is that theologians and religious studies people who are out there doing these things on university and college campuses will begin seriously thinking about producing videos and video material for students on issues related to the theological implications, ethical implications of the environmental problems that our book addresses.
Yeah. So as near as we can make out, scientists really like talking about environmental issues on camera. And we've got a really pretty extensive library of scientists doing what they like to do. The theologians, a little shyer. There just are not that many environmental theology videotapes available out there from theologians, but what there are out there, and which is another important component of the website, are denominational statements. And from the point of view of a scientist, it was really quite a surprise to me what a breadth of denominational statements, how many different kinds of perspectives and elements were brought into discussions of not just the environmental problems we face in a vanilla sort of sense, but specific environmental problems, often in specific places, that different denominations have addressed in very articulate, very ethically analytical ways. And I think if you explore in there a little, if you poke around, you'll find a lot of things that would be of use. Russ and I teach at a Catholic university. This book, though, we've attempted to make really ecumenical. We've tried to cover a broad array of Christian ethical perspectives and also collected statements about the environment from quite a few different religions.
One of the things that we hope will occur as a result of not just the book project but the website is conversation, maybe even a national or international conversation. In other words, if there are people out there who know of resources, video resources or other kinds of resources that should appear on this website, we would love to hear about that. We would love to hear from both theologians as well as scientists in terms of how could this website be of greater service to both of those groups, and what we can do to upgrade resources and make those available for people, particularly our students. That's the primary target audience of this website, are students, to help them integrate theology, ethical, and scientific analysis into their own way of dealing with contemporary environmental problems.
We're hoping by both updating it ourselves and by soliciting ideas from people who use the book, who use the website, we can turn this into a real living tool that remains contemporary, that remains update in an arena in our society which is rapidly changing and very dynamic.
How long was that? That was even longer.
Did he disappear when he bent over?